Warm good evening to all. IEEE Kerala section cordially invite you to the 20th talk of the Inter-Society Weekly webinar series on engineering applications in neurological disorders, organized by IEEE Kerala section, Computer Society of India Trivandrum chapter, Internet Society Trivandrum chapter, Vakka Maulavi Foundation Trust Trivandrum, and IEEE Engineering in Medicine and Biology Kerala chapter. The session will be handled by Mr. Kurt P. Varghese, retired head of Clinical Engineering, Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science and Technology. In order to welcome you all, I invite Fagisri, representing IEEE Kerala section, for the welcome speech. Ma'am, please. Fagisri, ma'am, are you there?
Ashia, you can take over and welcome the audience and go ahead.
Okay, sir. Okay. It's my privilege to welcome you all. First of all, I welcome our session handler, Mr. Kurtbi Varghese, retired head of Clinical Engineering, Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science and Technology, for the session Engineering Applications in Neurological Disorders. Welcome you, sir, to this session. Then I invite all the participants in this session to make this a new one. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yeah, audible.
It's my privilege to welcome you all. First of all, I welcome Mr. Kurtupi Varghese, retired head of Clinical Engineering, Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science and Technology. And I'm welcoming all the participants in this session. Thank you. Next, I would like to welcome Professor Jayasri MJ, representing IEEE Engineering in Medicine and Biology Kerala chapter, for the introduction of speaker. Ma'am, please.
Thank you. Mr. Korut P. Varghese, being honored with prestigious IEEE Millennium Award 2020, is currently the chairman of IEEE EMPS Kerala chapter and the former chair of IEEE Kerala section. He is a senior life member of IEEE and also the professor and chairman of assessment committee at Indian Biomedical Skill Consortium, IBSC, Visakhapatnam. Being an alma mater of Indian Institute of Sciences, Bangalore, he completed his PG in 1980, specialized in biomedical signal processing and instrumentation, and he got special mention for his work in automated digital flame photometer for the detection of sodium, calcium, and lithium in blood, the first of its kind in the country, and received a special award. Apart from this, he holds a postgraduate diploma in computer application and MBA in marketing from Kerala University, and also MBA in hospital management from Annamalai University. His career history includes the post of biomedical engineer of Christian Medical College and Hospital, Vellore, after which he headed the clinical engineering department of Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute of Medical Sciences and Technology, Trivandrum, an institute of national importance in the level Engineer G. With an experience of 4 decades in the biomedical engineering field, some of his patented products are alarm system for ventilators, carbon dioxide incubator for tissue culture, dental pulp vitality monitors. Sir also holds Six Sigma Black Belt from Indian Statistical Institute, Bangalore on quality assurance. He is the recipient of the Special Topic Award from KSCSTE, Government of Kerala at the Kerala Science Congress. He has received several national and international awards, special certificate and cash award for medical devices development and harnessing the technology for patient care. India's first interactive multimedia biomedical engineering gallery at Kerala State Science and Technology Museum, Trivandrum, and the comprehensive medical equipment management system at SCT-IMST are his own brainchild. All the exhibits in the gallery are his own creation. He served so many societies and independent organizations like IEI, CSI, IETE, then now IEEE LMAT, and is a technical member for several government bodies. Also working as consultant for biomedical engineering to various organizations. So he also shares his knowledge through various platforms, which is why he is with us today. With utmost privilege and honor, I welcome you, sir, to the Inter-Society Weekly Webinar Series Talks.
Thank you, Jayashree.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir, now it's your turn. Can we have your word, sir, please?
Yeah, okay. Is it audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
I think I will share the screen initially itself. Huh? It's clear screen you can see?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Okay. A very good evening to all. And thank you, Dr. Jayashree, for the nice introduction.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I am happy to be with you this evening through this electronic media. First of all, let me thank the Almighty for keeping us safe and healthy during this pandemic period. And at the outset, let me thank Mr. Harendra Lal and the entire team for taking my burden also in organizing the webinar series in an exemplary manner. And let me express my sincere thanks on behalf of IEEE EMBS Kerala chapter to all those who have put their effort and energy for organizing this webinar series. Without your selfless effort, this webinar will not be a success. Okay, let me come to our topic, engineering applications in neurology for neurological diseases. Why this topic is selected? You are thinking why this topic is selected. This topic is selected only because the neurological system in our body is similar to our engineering system. That is a combination of chemical engineering, electronics engineering, electrical engineering. Electrical potential is generated in a human body by chemical changes. We say electricity is the flow of electrons. In the human body, neurons does the purpose. Electricity is transmitted through electrical cable outside. In human body, neurons does the job. The main idea behind this presentation is to highlight some of the engineering applications for the diagnosis and treatment of neurological disorder so that we engineers can do some more addition to the present techniques and technology and think of coming out with simple and user-friendly devices and equipments to help the medical professionals in a way beneficial to the mankind. Being an engineer, I have limitations in giving details on much on clinical applications. But here, I am planning to give you a brief idea of neurological disorder and some symptoms of neurological disorder and some latest engineering applications, and as per the time, at the end, a small video on treating for a neurological disorder. It's a surgical procedure where you can see applying a lot of equipments. First of all, let us see what is a neurological disorder. A neurological disorder, it's a disease or a disorder of the neurological systems. I am sure every one of you know what is a nervous system. In simple words, if you are saying, a nervous system is the communication network of our body system. See, the nerves transmit signals between brain and the rest of the body, including the organs. That is, the entire body system is controlled by the nervous system. Example, our eyesight, hearing, taste, smell, feelings, sensation, blood flow, pressure, etc. Like everything is controlled by the nervous system. Then voluntary and involuntary functions such as movement, balance, coordination are also controlled by the nervous system. The nervous system is a complex network of nerves. That is, the nervous system is a complex network of nerves. This network system carries us the message from and to the brain and the spinal cord and to various parts of the body. Even though this nervous system is very complex, it's perfectly designed and arranged. The nervous system is mainly divided into two, that is, central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cord. That is the main central part, the crucial part. So this has to be kept very safe. So the brain is kept inside the skull and the spinal cord is fixed inside the vertebra. Okay. Then the peripheral nerve system. The peripheral nerve system are the nerves that branches out from the brain to the spinal cord. These nerves forms a communication network between the central nervous system and the entire body part. There are hundreds of nerves in our body. You can see in the picture itself. It's an innumerable. Somebody says in millions, but we can say it is hundreds of nerves are in our body. And the length of each nerve varies us from a fraction of a centimeter to several centimeters. In the picture, you are seeing some nerves here and there. Example, you imagine a nerve from your big toes to the spinal cord. So the length of the nerve, you notice, depends on your length. So I think you are having an idea about the length of the nerves. And let us look into how the nerve looks like. The nerve is an enclosed, cable-like bundle of nerves. It's totally enclosed in a cover. It has blood vessels inside, axons, it has neurons inside, connecting tissues, everything is combined is the nerve. But this bundle of nerves transmit electrical impulses all over the body. As these nerves transmit electrical impulses all over the body, we call it as the body's electrical wiring. These nerves are very fragile and it can be damaged by pressure, stretching, or cutting. So we have to be very careful of our nerves. If it happens to get any pressure or unnecessary stretching, it can get damaged. You think of our electrical lines itself. Electrical lines, suppose we have two electrical poles, and in between, if two electrical poles get cut, what will happen? An injury to a nerve can stop a signal transmission, causing muscles not to work properly. Injury may affect the sensation feeling. If any of the nerve get injured, your sensation feeling will, you lose the sensation feeling at that area. Some section of the nerve is cut completely or damaged beyond repair. So imagine the same way itself. If we have an electrical line between two posts, if it is damaged, if it is broken, what we can do? If it is cut, that area is totally become dark. Then we have to make another, we have to put another line there. So our neurosurgeons can remove the damaged section and reconnect with the healthy nerves. This process is called nerve repair or implanting a piece of nerve, or in other way, it is known as nerve grafting. This is a major work. We engineers can play a great role there. Develop effective techniques and tools to support the surgery so that our surgeons' effort can be reduced and patients are relieved from their ailment. For surgical procedure, a lot of fine and precious precision equipments are necessary. We engineers can think of developing new techniques or even new procedure for doing this. Due to the fast development of this electrode technology, things which we thought are impossible are possible now. Yeah, this is our main person. That is the neuron. Neurons are responsible for transmitting electrical signals. Signal is, see, I am not going to give details of this neurons. The main speciality of the neuron is that it is electrically excitable. See, there the direction of the signal is shown there. From the neuron, signal is going in this direction. It is a one-way movement. Signals can only move in directions. So these cells can receive signals from the external world, and it can also give the motor commands to the muscles. And this signal from one neuron to the other neuron, it goes. It is very simple. You can think of the concept is very simple, just as our electrical things only. In our normal electrical distribution, we are seeing this distribution. We can see that from one electrical pole, signal is going to the next electrical pole. And if there is any problem in between the poles, that area will be affected. Very simple. So here we can see how the signal is moving. See, at the receptors. Receptors means in our body, our skin area or outer area. Stimulus, it receives a signal from the external world, and it is transmitted to the central nervous system through the sensory neurons. And after the processing, it comes from this central nervous system, through the motor neurons, it goes to the muscles. And see, this much a brief introduction only I am giving about the neurons or nerve things. This much basic concept about the nerve conduction and how the nerves transmit electricity. And all the signals which are received at the central nervous system are transmitted to the brain. The brain is the central processing area. It is just like a computer. And there is no delay, anything like that. Instantaneously, action is being taken. Suppose you are touching a hot iron or a hot material with your finger. Immediately your finger senses that signal is sent to the brain. Brain immediately sends a signal to the other place. Immediately you will have a feeling, that a hot feeling you will feel. And immediately another command will be given saying that you should withdraw the signal that is there. So depending on that, immediately action will be taken. See, this is the network. That is a peripheral network. The network of nerves inside the body can be considered as a superhighway. It is designed in such a way that information can be passed without any hindrance. Like in superways, vehicles are going fast in all directions. You can imagine what happens if anything happens on the road. If the road is slightly damaged, or if the road is broken, or if an accident happens on this one, what happens? It suddenly stops. We cannot do anything on that. Okay. So similarly is the case of our nerve system also. If a nerve is damaged, difficulties happen. So every system will fail, a crucial breakdown. In this breakdown, in this particular, doctors has to give their treatment. Here, the biomedical engineers, scientists, and manufacturers can think of coming out with simple devices or procedures to help the doctors to make their job easy and detecting and rectifying the damages at the earliest. Here is an example of an R&D work. Scientists, with the help of a robot, designed a proton, see, and tunnels it into the outer shell of the neuron. You already saw the picture of the neuron. So it is tunneled and the outer shell is broken, it is put inside. They observed that if there is a slight change in the voltage when the neuron fires, this proton immediately transforms into a fluorescent torch, and which can easily seen under a microscope. That is, if this proton is implanted inside, and if any voltage change is coming there, or if there is any active neuron is inside, this will be coming like a torch. That is, it is noted that the embedded sensor spark like a firework. So this is an eye-opening for the researchers to develop devices to detect the nerve damage or anything it is there. And so another engineering applications which we are seeing, the world's first artificial neuron has already developed. Scientists reproduces the electric property of neuron on a semiconductor. A major breakthrough for neural technology, that is, artificial neurons are created on microchips to use for motor neuron diseases. Next. Actually, Professor Alain is the main person. Below I have given the site. Their complete description is there, how the neurons are. This they are planning to implant on the body. Next one is wireless brain implant to give sight to the blind. That is, scientists in Australia are gearing up for clinical trials. That is, complete animal trials, everything is over. Now they are going to do the clinical trial of the brain implant that may restore the sight in blind people. See, the sensor is there. See, the main funny part of this one is we all can see only our front because our eyes are fixed on our front area. This one, depending on fixing of the sensor, you can see 360 degrees around you if it is implanted. Okay, that is about this one. Now, the thing is, how do we know if a nerve is damaged? Few examples of symptoms that may be caused by a problem of the nerve system is, one is numbness. You will have a feeling of numbness on that particular area. Then tingling or weakness. If you find any weakness in any of your area, you can feel that there's a nerve is damaged. Reduced ability to move. That is, everything is controlled by your nerve system. Your brain controls everything. Human balance, everything is controlled by the brain. But if you have a difficulty there, then you can see it is a nerve problem. Let us see some more disorders including in the nerve system. That is, if there is a nerve disorder, immediately you will feel a pain. Then muscles malfunction, changes in sensation, changing the sense, you will feel vertigo, sleep problem, epilepsy, Alzheimer's diseases, and all dementias. Cerebrovascular diseases such as stroke, migraine, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's diseases, neuro infections, and many are there with the effect of this one. If you see the seriousness of the neurological disorder here, hundreds of millions of people worldwide are affected by neurological disorders. more than 6 million people die because of stroke. And each year, okay, there is over 80% of these deaths take place in low and medium income countries. More than 50 million people have epilepsy worldwide. It is estimated that there are globally 47.5 million people with dementia, with 7.7 million new cases every year. Imagine 7.7 million new cases every year. Alzheimer's diseases is the most common case of dementia and may contribute to 60 to 70% of cases. That prevalence of migraine is more than 10% worldwide. See, by this time, we saw how is the nerve signal transmitting in our body and some importance of the nerve system. And we have noticed some symptoms also. Now, let us quickly go into some equipments which is used for the diagnosis of this neurological diseases. You are familiarized with almost all these equipments, but still I will just mention it. One is a computerized tomography, CT scan, positron emission, that PET, MRI, then EEG, then EMG, and NCV. I am sure you all have at least some idea about all these tests. So I am not explaining in detail, but quickly running through and show few latest engineering applications in them. This is the CT scan. It's a picture of the CT scan. You are seeing the cross-sectional pictures of the CT. And CT, that is computerized tomography, that is CT scan is a diagnostic imaging procedure that uses a combination of X-ray and computer technology to have the cross-sectional image. That is, you can take the cross-sectional image, you can take the image in a sagittal, horizontal, or whatever is the position we can take. But one cross-section is known as by the slice. The speed of this CT is taken by how many slices it can take per minute. I thought of telling one recent advancement. One recent advancement CT software is that the CT image can detect COVID-19 better than our RT-PCR. And because COVID is a respiratory disease and affects the lungs, CT-PCR test helps only if the virus is in the nose or the throat. CT-PCR test will tell you you have a COVID or you are positive or negative, that's all. But see, in the main problem is this is affecting the lungs. How will you know the affection in the lungs, how much it is there? In the CT, we can see the extent of damage clearly. Once the virus is infected the lungs, we can medicine to that, we can readily check how much it has affected it, and all treatments can be made in that. That's modified software developed by Siemens is already in the market. That doesn't mean that everybody has to buy a new CT. The CT company has to buy the software and just load it up. All companies are trying their best to bring the best quality pictures. This picture you are seeing as a second generation, I think it's a third generation CT gantry opened. So this was I was shown is because the latest engineering application is CT is the time of scanning. I told about the slices. A 320 slice CT can complete the entire body scan in 3 seconds. That is, the body will go through the CT gantry and the CT system will rotate and takes this one. That is for the entire body, it takes only 3 seconds. And the heart scan without table movement, less than half a second. That is, when your heart beats, before it starts beating and stopping, your image is already being taken. Because of this high-speed coverage, certain investigations, which was reserved only for MRI and nuclear imaging, can be done by CT. These are the advantages of engineering applications. Here, you can see the speed. See, in this picture, you are seeing this CT gantry. And this is the detectors. This entire thing is the detectors. And just on the opposite side, you are seeing the CT tube. So from the CT tube, an X-ray beam from this direction to this direction, a beam of X-ray will go there, and the whole system will rotate around your body and see. You can see how speed it is rotating. Just see. This was just to show you what was the speed of a CT at a second or third generation CT. But now what it is telling us, a 320 slice CT can take your entire body scan within 3 seconds. You imagine the speed of the gantry and imagine the speed of the acquisition and also imagine the speed of the table movement and technology advancement. I'll stop it. We'll go to the next. And this is a imaging. This is a 2D reconstruction. From all these CT slices, we can reconstruct this one in the 2D image. Just like our normal X-ray, you are seeing the lungs, that COVID's everything, infected COVID area, everything you are seeing here. In the other area, you can see the nerves and all other parts you can do with the reconstructions. But the next one, here it's a 3D visualization. You take a CT and go it up. Later on, we can do a 3D reconstruction. You can see how it is there. See, there is no need, without any surgery or anything like that, or any operations, you can see the internal parts of the body. You can see the nerves where it's inside. If you have inside the brain, you have a problem, if you can find out that particular nerve where that problem is coming, you can give stimulation to that particular area and you can do it up. You can give stimulations and you can take over the command of the human being with the machines. That's the thing. I will quickly go as the time is going fast. This is the MRI. In MRI also, everybody is familiar about MRI. MRI can take cross-sectional pictures. But if everybody knows that, okay, I am going to the hospital, doctor has told me to take a scan. And I have taken the scan picture and I have no problem. See, if the doctor is giving you only a thing, take a CT scan, take an MRI means that doesn't mean anything. But if he is specifically saying, okay, this particular area, I am suspecting a particular problem, go to that area, give me that details, then that is an effective result. Here, you can, the MRI pictures, you are seeing it up. And another one is the advantage of MRI is the, MRI, we can do MRI perfusion. That if you lift your right hand, left side of your brain works. Then the blood is flowing through that area and you can find out how much blood is going on there. And this is used for lie detection. And another one is, I'm telling, is the diffusion tension imaging, that is DTI. This is categorized, you can see, we can go deeper and deeper inside the brain, you can go. And you can see what is inside the brain. And it is saying that more than 86 billion neurons are inside our brain. And this is an animated video. You need not worry, everything is available in the net. All these pictures are available in the net. If you take anything, everything you can see from there. And it can go to the microstructural changes inside the brain. We can see with an MRI now. You can see it. That's it. Neuropathology and treatment, everything is possible through MRI. That is the latest technology of MRI diffusion. And I'll stop and go to the next one. This is an EEG. You all know what is an EEG. EEG is there. But here, you are seeing a special EEG. That is special EEG electrodes are already connected to the patient. EEG machine is all there. The patient is simply sitting there reading a book. You may be feeling why she is reading this book and everything. But this is a process of taking video EEG. On the side, you can see the screen. There you are seeing the EEG signals on the side and also the video of the patient. This EEG will be continued until the case is detected. That video EEG will be continued for 2 or 3 days continuously, day and night continuously, because this is mainly to detect the epilepsy. We do not know when the epilepsy is coming. So when the epilepsy is coming, you know which direction, what is happening in your face, where face is having any changes will be there, or you are going the left side, or you are moving the left side and the right side. At that, according to your posture, what is the signal changes it is there in the EEG, and with that you can locate which nerve is causing you the problem. If that particular nerve is causing you a problem, you insert a in the electrode inside there, you cauterize that, you will be 100% relieved from the epilepsy. And this is the electrodiagnostic test. Electrodiagnostic tests are tests for measuring the speed and degree of electrical activity in the muscles and nerves and help the doctors to make proper diagnosis. That is, with this, we are told that from the neurons or through the nerves, signals are transmitting. With this machine, you can measure that signal and you can measure the velocity, and then you can find out which nerve, what particular things is there. This particular machine is an EMG and EEG combined machine. For taking the EMG, you need needles, 1 or 2 needles. Needles should be inserted into your body, and we have electrodes also. These are bipolar needles. And giving electrical signal there, we can record the thing also. These are the different needles for being inside the pain. And this is the nerve conduction study. A nerve conduction study is a medical diagnostic test commonly used to evaluate the functions, especially the ability of electrical conduction motor nerves. That is, we will give an external stimulus 1 point, and we can measure from this nerve, and we know how much time it is being taken. We calculate the time, velocity, and we can measure the nerve is conducting or not. Here, there's a small video that is nerve conduction study. You can just see. That is, these are all things, everything you can see in the net, not a problem. See that electrodes are being pasted there. And he is permitted to move the finger, then we know which area is, which part is the nerve. That is there, in that area you have the signal generator and as well as the amplifier for picking up the signals. And once that is connected, okay, that signal generator is connected and going to give electrical signals. Okay, going to electrical signals. You just watch that thumb, carefully watch that thumb when electric signal is coming. It's there. Yeah, see, that is moving. Okay, now you can see it up. That means you know which nerve is working. If it is not working, we can find out. Even we can give physiotherapy with this nerve stimulation, and we can find out all that particular, which nerve is healthy and which nerve is disease, and we'll move fast. And this is another one, evoked potential response. That is, this the electricity, that the movement of signal inside your body can be evoked. That means if I am getting a sudden sound, immediately I will get afraid. If we are seeing a lightning or a thunder, some signal will come inside. So here how it is being tested, measured is, the patient EEG electrodes are connected and the cable is connected to an EEG machine, and in the front of the patient a checkerboard is given and these patterns are changed. That is visual evoked potential. Into your ear, some sounds will be given. That is auditory. And you can give some sensation to your body. That is, so there are different types of evoked potential EEGs are there. And there is even techniques for measuring through the with the ultrasound. I think I have just skipped through some of the equipments. I don't know, I might have gone fast, whether you have clearly understood. See, this one. Now, just we saw some neurological disorders. We saw some neurological symptoms. We saw some engineering applications for that. Now we are going to see a treatment. That is, we are going to a small surgery with the electrical stimulation. This is an operation theater. Here you are seeing a table. We are going to receive the patient. When the patient is going to be received, the patient will be under anesthesia. Patient will not be seeing these things. You see how many persons are there to welcome the patient. Full of equipments, full of engineering applications. It is there. So treatment, that is a surgical procedure for neurological disorder. Its name is deep brain stimulation. That is, deep inside the brain, we have identified some disorder inside the brain and we can stimulate that nerve and this one. This is mainly used for Parkinson's disease. You all know what is a Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's disease is a progressive nervous system disorder that affects the movement. You all know. Parkinson's disease is the second most common age-related neurodegenerative disorders after Alzheimer's diseases. An estimated of 7 to 10 million people worldwide have Parkinson's. Men are 1.5 times more likely to have Parkinson's than women. See, this is the Parkinson's symptoms of Parkinson's. See, if you have Parkinson's, you make tremor, slowed movement, rigidity in muscles, impaired posture and balance, loss of automatic movement, speech changes, you have problems in writing. These all are the symptoms of Parkinson's disease. See, the deep brain stimulation is an elective surgical procedure. This is a very elective, underline the word elective. Deep brain stimulation is an elective surgical procedure in which electrodes are implanted into the certain brain area. These electrodes, so there is a mistake is there, electrodes cannot generate electrical things. It is written as these electrodes or leads generate electrical impulses that controls the abnormal brain activity. But okay, see, why I said it is selective. This treatment is reserved for people who are not able to get control of their symptom by medicine. So Parkinson's, we are giving medicines, and when it come to final stage, medicines will not respond. At that time, we are using here, that is the engineering applications comes there. This DBS, deep brain stimulation, is approved to treat a number of conditions by FDA. That is dystonia, epilepsy, essential tumors like that, and Parkinson, it was there. And deep brain stimulation is also being studied as a potential treatment for addiction, chronic pain, cluster headache, dementia, depression, multiple sclerosis, stroke recovery, and so on. It is there. Several things is already there. For this deep brain stimulation, it has only 4 units. It has a thin wire called the lead, which is placed inside the brain. That here is that lead. In the previous slide, it was mentioned that the lead is giving electric signal. It is not. That is only this lead, this particular area, lead is put there. And a pulse generator, that is a pacemaker, it is known as a neuro pacemaker, that sends electrical signal. In the bottom, you can see here is a pacemaker, it is already there. That generates signals, but signal has to reach this electrode, so you need a wire connecting these 4 things. And one more thing, there is a remote control program. It is to program the system. That is the only one part outside the body. Everything is implanted. This is the pulse generator, stimulator, it is known as, or it is also now called as a pacemaker. It's a programmable battery-powered pacemaker device that creates electrical impulses that will be implanted inside our body. This may have 10 to 15 years life period. And these are the electrodes which is implanted inside the brain. This one, I hope this will be more clear to you, how this deep brain stimulation is going to be done. How will I insert a needle inside? If you want a needle, you have to make a hole. Just you can see it up. See, that area has to be stimulated. So 2 drills, 2 holes has to be drilled, then insert an electrode, and our system will start simulating. That is all. If you think it is very simple, then what is the problem? Take anybody else to make 2 drills on the head and do it up. But if you are inserting a needle, what is the assurance that it has reached the excite location? You imagine the brain. Brain is very sensitive. If any part of the brain is damaged, it will never recover there. But if you are inserting a needle, suppose on the pathway, if there is a blood vessel, if it is puncturing the blood vessel, what will happen? How will you detect the excitedly that you cannot operate and do it up? We have an MRI, CT, and then how will you do it up? Here is the main thing is there. Okay, this side. How will you identify the critical area for stimulation? See, we have a stereostatic system frame. It is there. This is a pure engineering design. So this is the needle which is going to be implanted inside. And this is the target area. This particular area is you have to simulate that thing. This will be fixed on the head. You have 360-degree graduated one arch is already. So this drive can be go in any 360 degrees. And here is a motor system. This also can go in 360 degrees. That will be fixed on the head of the patient. Your stereostatic frame will be there. Your electrode drive unit is there, arch and roll system. And once it is fixed, then we can find out. A stereostatic head frame is employed to provide a reference point for the target brain area responsible for the body movement. At the beginning of the procedure, that is before the surgery, everything is going to start. At the beginning of the procedure, the frame is attached to the patient's head using local anesthesia to numb the scalp. See, this frame is fixing on the head on 3 pins, 1, 2, 3 pins. So if you have put that pin on your head, you will have pain. So for that, a local anesthesia should be given. And another one is an indicator box that is attached to the head frame for this. So we will put an indicator frame also for the reference. And I hope I can finish early. It is already 6:30. This is the deep brain stimulation. You can really see a video how a surgery is going to be conducted. You can see the patient is on the theater, complete shivering, the patient cannot control and their body is shivering there and doctor is fixing, giving injection. There, that is the frame. See, the main thing for the engineers you have to say is when you are making a frame or making any engineering design, it should be user-friendly. Doctors or anybody should have any difficulties. Actually, they should enjoy using the machine. See, you can see all nut, screws, bolt, everything is fixed appropriately. The patient is somewhere else only. Here you are arranging the frame. You are fixing the screw on that frame. And this is the point we have mentioned about the pin, which is going to be fixed on the patient head. And so you can see how it is going to be mounted on the patient. Patient is brought to the theater. Okay, that frame is brought there. There is 2 pins. It will be fixed on 2 pins only. The central area is marked. You have to give a small injection to anesthetize that particular area. Then the screw is tightened. Now the frame is fixed onto your head. And then you have to put the reference marker. It is there. That is, when the patient is shifted to any place in the room, hearing that, you should know the reference point. Then after that, you are fixing that localization frame. See how simple, only just if it's an engineering design is perfect, doctors has to do nothing. Just take it, simply fix it. Nothing to worry, it will go exactly. Even 1 mm is difficult difference, it will have problems. So your design has to be perfect. The patient is going to shift it to the MRI room, from the theater is taken to the MRI room with the frame. And with the frame, they are taking the MRI of the patient. And there actually the main process of planning. See, the MRI is taken, and from that you are assessing that area where it is there, and you have to find out where exactly we have to stimulate. So in different plane, MRI pictures are taken. These are taking XY coordinate. Here you can see the one coordinator, it is being marked. And different coordinators are taken. It's calculated that all measurements are digitally measured, and 3 planes are already taken. So XY plane is already taken in that. It's computerized. The computer will do everything it will do. And you have to exactly find where is the real location for inserting the needle. And see, that is the particular area, but that is the location. Then you have to identify through which path you have to go. It should not be through puncturing a vein or any other way. You have to find an easy path which will not cause any problem to any other nerves or any other symptoms. Because what I have already mentioned is, if a portion of a brain is damaged, it can never be repaired or replaced. Then through the computer processing, you can find out exactly that particular area. And after finding this one, you have to tune the frame and fix the frame at the correct location. Once the frame is fixed, so you can blindly insert the needle. It will go directly to that particular place only. The computer itself will tell you in which direction, what area it should be there, and from the it's already dimensions already fixed. After the CT, the patient has already gone to the theater. Patient is on the way only. See this, but this is the targeted area. This is the target area. Patient has not come to the theater. So surgeons are setting up the machine. So the machine is setting without the patient. So the frame is already fixed. You can see how many engineering appliances are there. And the main beauty of this is, this should be simple and it must be user-friendly. Doctors or anybody should like the machine. They should like playing with the instrument. They should not feel that this is a dangerous machine. How can I do it? Nothing like that. All the design process. So you should imagine that if 1 fraction of an mm difference is there in that alignment, when the needle is going there, it will be stimulating some other area. See, they are putting a needle there and just checking whether it is touching the target. You can see, you'll be able to see it up. See, that is target, it has touched the target. Then it will be withdrawn a little particular area. So the patient is not at all there. Without the patient, the surgery is simulating here and excite locations. So that micromillimeter adjustment it is made. Then once it is set, that is taken out from here. Then this is taken to the theater and it is put on the patient head. You can see it is fixing on the patient head. And another thing I told about, they have to make a drill, hole before make a drill. That area is marked. That area where we are going to make the hole, it is some anesthesia is given. It's a very minor surgery, just like a small cut in your hand. You don't think it is a surgery at all. It is a very small, fine cut. You can forget of it. It is not. You can no bleeding, nothing. It is there. So that area is cut, and you are seeing the skull. You see each tool. These are the where the engineers should have work there. engineering appliance should be there. For spreading the skin, you need a particular tool. That is a drill. See, that point is marked where the area. This is another drill, drilling the bone. You can see this is a special drill, so that once the bone is drilled, it automatically stops. So the surgeon need not worry about it. He can just drill it up. Once the bone is drilled through, it automatically stops the system. Then all the accessories they are fixing on the top. Then it should be that birth, everything should be removed. It's that area you have to clean. For removing all these things, you need tools. So much more precise, more user-friendly tools we have to design and make so that this process can be simplified. So think of some other process which we can do it. There's nothing is impossible. What all we think is possible. What you are seeing, these things are which was not available yesterday. And the main advantage, what is today may not be available tomorrow. They are putting the needle and just checking whether it is exactly in the same position. Rechecked, okay, then fine. Then nothing to worry. It's already there. Then you have to put the electrode. Then that metal clamp should be put there, because later on that bone should not get damaged. The open air share should be safe. Okay, it is put on the top. Then these clamps are everything. We will not take it. It's permanently fixing there only. It's a bioconductible product only. It is there. And you have to remove that dura and all that minor surgery. See, it's a simple. It's a very, 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 very simple process. There is a process only. I think because of the engineering applications, most complicated things are coming simple. And now a cable is put there just to see whether it is going there. So now putting an electrode just to check the thing. Then there are fine screws are there. Fine screws. You have to adjust all these things. And just with that micro adjustment, you have to see, and it is exactly placed on the top. Once it is fixed properly, all the sheath and coverings can be removed so that you can put the actual electrode for stimulation. That is the guide. That is the electrode. It is taken there. It is inserted. That measurement is already made. It is just inserted there. I think blindly we can put, because all dimensions are already made. Electrical cables connections are being given. Now, finally, we have to give the earth connection. Earth wire is connected. Now, nothing else. Doctors are free. You have to give stimulation. Switch on the machine and see whether it is stimulating. Slightly adjust the voltage or area, or it is up and down. Okay, start firing. See, the signal is already coming. It is exactly that area is given. And now, then you have to calibrate it. And you have to, and we have to see whether it is, even though it is signal is given, we have to see the patient. Patient is alive. You have to ask the patient, lift the hand or move the hand, and whether it is, his problem is rectified. And we will tell the patient to lift the hand. See, he is lifting the hand. He can lift the hand. Previously, he cannot do that of his own. Now he is doing it. Now you have to adjust the amplitude and voltage, fix the voltage, what is the what current it should be there, what voltage it should be there. And seeing the signal, it should be 1 milliamp is already giving there. Now everything is set. It's over. Now they know what is the length of the electrode. Then that lead should be taken out. It's measured and it is taken out. all the you have to take the actually, you have to insert the actual electrode, which has to be implanted. That actual electrode is taken. Now measure it, how much depth it has to go inside. It is measured, and a marker is already put there. You can see a white marker. They are putting a white marker there. Okay. Then nothing else you have to do. You cannot do anything out there. You have to blindly insert it. It will go to the correct location. Once it goes to the correct location, you see, when the testing also, we found that from the target, we are withdrawing it a little. After tightening it, withdraw it a little. Or insert it, that's the correct way. Then your process is over. Now remove everything and close the area. Close the area. It's already 7 o'clock. I will finish it fast. I think if you can wait for another 2-3 minutes, it will be over. So it is closed, that burr hole. It is only a small hole only, small hole. It's the size of a little bit, small size. See, the same thing you have to do on the left side. We did a surgery on the right side. In the demonstration, so 2 electrodes are inside. So the same thing is repeated. So here nothing else to wait. We can go fast. So same type of stimulation is there. Adjusting it. That electrode is being fixed. Okay. Then close that area also. After that, remove everything. Take the cables. Firmly put the cable inside wherever is necessary. After putting the cables perfectly, do the switching. Now everything is over. Patient is conscious. You can talk to the patient. Patient is taken to the theater. But you have to give a little time for curing all these wounds and everything. So a few weeks after the surgery, device will be switched on because you have a remote from external things. You can see the antenna of on the detector. This is the antenna on the detector. So it can be tuned on, it should be programmed, and you can do it. That's amazing. I think you have seen a lot of things. From this thing, whatever you think, you can think of developing equipments. That is, our Alfred is a Nobel laureate, what he told is, if I have 1,000 of ideas and only one turns out to be good, I am satisfied. So think of so many things. At least if you can bring one thing, it is very good. It is not about the idea, but about making an idea happen. Be an inventor, not an imitator. Dream is not what you see in sleep. It is the thing which doesn't let you sleep. Thank you. I hope.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So such a nice session it was. And it's due to the time, so we have so many questions in our chat box, but due to the time limit, let me point a question, and the balance questions we will send you through offline mode. Okay, sir?
Yeah, this can offline, you can add it up.
Okay, so let me point a question. The question is that, can seizure be predicted earlier? What are the reasons and any cure to remove this from repeating again?
Yeah, that is what I see. Previously, seizures, that is what we see is the epilepsy. Epilepsy, now it is 100% curable. In Sri Chitra, we are doing the surgery for epilepsy, and it is 100% cure. Because I have shown that video EEG, you have to take video EEG. It may be taken for 1 day or 1 hour or 2 hours or till the seizure comes. But you have to take a EEG when the seizure is there. And if you can find out, it can be cured. It is 100% curable. We are doing that. And this what now I shown this experiment. We are also, Srijitra is already making a project on that. We are developing the deep brain stimulation equipment. We are doing it. We are on the project. And we are doing the surgery also. We are doing the surgery
Okay,
also.
sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Sir, due to the time limit, we want to end up this. Balance questions we will send you through offline. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Anybody
Thank you
can,
very
because
much.
I have shown my mail ID also. Thanks a lot.
Okay, sir.
I have taken
Okay,
a
sir.
lot of time. I have taken a lot of time.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. We are going to the word of thanks section. It's my privilege to say word of thanks. First of all, I am expressing my sincere gratitude towards Mr. Kurutpi Varghese, retired head of clinical engineering, Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science Technology. Sir, such a nice session it was, and we understood the engineering applications in neurological disorders. It's very informative. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Then I am expressing my gratitude towards Jayashree MJ for introducing the speaker to us. Thank you, ma'am. And also to all the eminent personalities in this session for your participation. Thank you. Thank you very much to all. Thank you.
Thank you.